Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you on Sunday morning for your dual dab of the day. Before we do our Carta and our peak dab of the day, I do want to talk about the topic of the day. And that topic is going to be, how do we handle people that we want to help that will not accept good or great advice? How do we deal with the need we have to help others if they resist and fight? How do we deal with people who want to help us if it's something we don't want to do? How many times does this happen? This happens a lot interpersonally, especially with loved ones and close friends. You're all going to agree with this one and relate to it because it's a human interaction. But we do it constantly. Constantly, we're trying to say to people, here's the weed I think you should smoke, it'll help you. When we really don't know much about the other person, but it's because it helped us. So our best practices become the drum roll, the drum beat for what we're trying to tell others to do. Sometimes it's a round hole with a square peg because sometimes it will not fit. Sometimes the other person can't do it. We might not know it. But largely, globally, people try to give best practice advice to others they care about, whether it's about health or business or relationships. But how do we find people to accept that advice? Think about ourselves. We're not very accepting. Human beings just aren't. What if somebody says to you, hey, here's the thing you need to do? I have a relative that tells me constantly, every time I talk or get on a communication forum with them, even on social media, long dissertation on what I'm not doing right, what I need to change, what I need to do medically, get away from the doctors, start holistic stuff, oh my God, Buddha's there for you, or whatever. And it just doesn't ring right with me. And sometimes they get offended. How do we deal with that? I know myself that I blurt out constantly like a machine gun. Here's what I think you should do. Here's what I think you should do. Here's about a lot of things. That's probably wrong for me to do that. I think what has to happen is we have to accept individuals that we care about, who they are, and slowly talk about things like, hey, you might want to think about this. Maybe you ought to consider that. Wow, that worked for me really well. Instead of, this is what you need to do. You really need to do this. I really think you should do this. You ought to do this now. How come you're not doing it? Oh my God, I'm following up with you 45 times. You haven't done it. That gets kind of stale. But we do that too. So where's the happy medium that we're going to find with loved ones and friends to share the things we know are right to help them? It's a very fine line. And even harder is, how do we accept the advice of friends and loved ones when they're trying to tell us what to do for our benefit? Because it all sounds the same. It all sounds like, I'm telling you what to do. You better do this. I'm telling you what to do. You better do this. And even sounds like, you're an idiot. You shouldn't be doing what you're doing. I know better. But that's none of what's being said. That's not anything of the direction of what we're trying to do. We're trying to help. And I'm sure the others aren't trying to do it. They're trying to help. But you've heard men are from Mars, women are from Venus, or whatever that saying is. It's like that with this. It's like that with this. Shrinks are called shrinks for a reason. Your problem comes in this big, and by the end, it's this big. They make it smaller. People and interactions with people make problems bigger, not smaller. It's a tumbling stone down the road. What you have to think about is ways to minimize instead of ways to maximize the nastiness that happens. So what I encourage is a pause. I've talked about pauses before, pregnant pauses, what they're called. A pause to say, well, before I tell you about what I'm thinking, I've thought about it quite a bit. And then go on. Instead of, hey, I really think I ought to tell you what you need to do because I've thought about it before and I really think it's important that you do this. And you really, oh my God, you're not doing it right. You got to do it my way. And you got to do it my way because I'm telling you. Because I know how I respond to that. Guess what? I shut down, box it out, and I'm not even hearing it. I turn off my hearing aids. So it is how things are served up, not just the content. You got to be real careful, especially if people are having issues, if you have pain, if you're depressed in any way. A lot of times, what people do is they go to that very corner, but they defend their corner. What I mean by that is, what do you mean I'm doing it wrong? I'm doing fine. What do you mean I should take different medicine? Everything's working. What do you mean I should see another doctor? In other words, they get grouchy about it because they're defensive. So you have to find an approach to talk to individuals you care about things you want to help them do better or differently in a different way. You've got to find that approach, whether it's they're moving left, you move right, or they're a round hole and you got to soften your squareness to get in that round hole, or put some jelly on the sides to slide in. Whatever you got to do, you got to figure it out if you want to help your loved ones and friends. To the same token, we receive this information from loved ones and friends, and it might not be received properly. I used to call it hot breath when I worked for a living. When I had a boss that would talk to me, unfortunately, the talk was from him down to me. And I called it hot breath because they weren't talking to you, they were telling you what to do. Well, thank God there ain't no boss out there right now. Those of you who are without bosses, and this is interpersonal, know just what I'm talking about. Sometimes the feeling of a loved one telling you to do something feels like hot breath of a boss. And then not only do you shut down, but you fight back. A lot of that happens from a parent or an older person than you, thinking they know more than you, talking what you perceive as down to you. It's very uncomfortable to be on the receiving end. When you're on the giving end, you often don't know you're doing it. So someone has to somehow speak up and stop that person from talking down and get them on an equal footing with you. Bosses it doesn't work with, but parents, relatives, friends, older friends, it'll work with. I think it's just a matter of communication, and we talk about communication a lot. It has to be done, and it has to be done two ways. And remember, it's about softening things. It's about getting it so that the information that's wonderful and good that you want to share or they want to share with you is served up in a way that you can accept it. So I hope that helps. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to dance with Lady Sativa. I contracted for some sugar wax for Mrs. Stoner, and we're going to try it today. We're going to try it in our Puffco Peak. I'm going to put it down inside the Puffco Peak and give it a try and see what it tastes like. It should be milder than some of the other things we've been using lately. Let's turn our peak on and give it a shot. And it is charged. We're going to hit it twice and it'll go to green. Here we go. I like my Peak. I think it's a really nice device. Good quality. Let's watch it heat up, and the dab train will start, and then we're going to get fishing. I have a group of people I'm meeting at the fishing pond this morning. Here we go. And the dab train moves. Well, the Puffco Peak is an old, reliable friend. Very tasty for a morning dab. And let's heat up this bad boy, this fast worker. We have now analyzed and found out that the Carta heats up just incredibly quickly, which is a really cool thing when you're dealing with these devices. Sometimes you just want that hit when you want that hit. Let's put our cap on. Here we go. Let's see how fast this puppy turns on. Here we go. Go into the second level. It's going to be quick. It's there already. Cheers. And the dab train comes by. I got to say, very smooth and tasty stuff. Very smooth and tasty. It's sativa, and Mrs. Stoner's going to like it. And it's nice to have it in the morning also. This has been The Real Senior Stoner. I hope I helped you guys with a better way to deal with these situations where we want to help people. I've been having difficulty with it. People I know are having difficulty with it with me, and I wanted to share. Hopefully it helps everybody, and hopefully you enjoyed your dual dab of the day with your Puff Go Peak and Carta E-Rigs. Have a great Sunday, everybody. I will be back to you. This is The Real Senior Stoner. Thanks for watching.